Thank you. No worries. I'm going to be quick tonight because I've got to go watch some Formula One at 8. No, but yeah, so tonight I'll be talking about Jesus in relationships. So this is not just romantic relationships. This is kind of any kind of relationship, any relationship that you have with someone. And so we are in the Undivided series, and just a whole overview of Undivided, and we're busy with Colossians, is this idea that Paul was writing to the people that, listen, this new king that you're following, this new Lord, he's not like the Roman kings. He wants to be more involved. Okay, he wants to be part of your family dynamics. He wants to be part of your business. He wants to be part of your relationships. He wants to be part of everything in this. So that's what Colossians all about. Paul is saying that because you've invited Jesus into your life, this is what this will look like. This is how you're supposed to treat these people. This is how you're supposed to communicate in these ways. And now I want to focus on Jesus in your relationships. Okay, so the letter is written to believers. So this applies to believers, and it's this thing he's describing what happens when Jesus lives in your heart. Okay, when you've accepted Jesus and he transforms you, what happens? Okay, and so I want to read Colossians 3 verse 17. And it says, and whatever you do, whether in word or deed, do it all in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God the Father through him. So whatever you do in word or deed, do it in the name of Jesus. Everything you do should point to Jesus. Everything you do and say, whatever it is, should be worship to Jesus, should be glorifying his name. Our whole lives, everything. We also see in Matthew 5, verse 13 and 14, that we are called to be the salt of the earth, and we are called to be the light of the world, right? Salt to enhance the flavor, change things, light to illuminate. We are called to impact. Everything we do matters. The way we speak, the way we act matters. It has an impact on people. It has an impact on those around us. We affect these people. Okay, so that's kind of the foundation. That's what I'm assuming we are all keeping in our minds, that we've accepted Jesus. Now, what does that look like in our lives? Okay, so Colossians 4, I'm just going to do a bit of Colossians 4, read a verse here and there. So the first verse says, he talks about what slavery would look like. Masters, be fair, be right with what you do. Verse 2 says, devote yourselves in prayer, be watchful, be thankful, pray for me too. So Paul's asking that they pray for him as well. Be wise in the way that you act towards outsiders. Make the most of every opportunity. Let your conversations always be full of grace, seasoned with salt. There we have the salt again, so that you may know how to answer everyone. Then from verse 7, you will see some funny names like Tysius will tell you news about me, and he's a dear brother. And then later he's saying that Onesimus is coming, Aristarchus is coming. He sends his greeting. He's the cousin of Barnabas. And then there's Jesus, who's called Justus. He also sends his greetings. And then from verse 12, Ephraim, he's a servant. He sends his greetings. Laodicea, Hierapolis, our dear friend Luke. Demas sends his greeting. Laodicea, then the lady Nympha that's got the church in her house. And it goes on and on. And at the end he says, I, Paul, write this greeting in my own hand. Remember my chains, grace be with you. So it's the first thing I kind of ask myself is why? Why do we need to know who he's saying hi to? Hello, greetings, this one, that one. Because, the verses, the things that are in the Bible are there for us to see something about God. And I think for me, if you look at Paul, we all know that he was really just such a fascinating person, but he was living for the kingdom. Everything he did, everything he said, what he wrote about was to point us towards Jesus. And I think this is part of it. Because like the whole theme of Colossians is he's saying when you've accepted Jesus in your life, this is kind of what it should look like. And I think this is included in it, that this is what it looks like. You know people. You ask for prayer, you pray for people, you tell them you're praying for them, you send greetings, you are involved in the community, right? And it's not like he's writing this from next door. He's under house arrest here, and he's got people visiting him, getting the letters, sending the letters. He got special permission as well to have people voluntarily be under house arrest with him for a while. And I think Paul shows us of how connected he is and that he knows people. And he's interested in people. He wants to let people know that he's thinking about them. And this is just one of his letters. The other letters all have their greetings, and he's so connected. And I think that's part of discipleship for us, is knowing people. We're supposed to have relationships. We're supposed to have compassion for people. We're supposed to know what's going on in their lives. And I think this is such a great example of that. And so, talking about relationships, and that's where my whole theme is going to go. But before we do that, I just want to explore some things as well on how we change and how we go about our behaviors and so on. And I want to take us to Romans 12, verse 2, that says, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you'll be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will." Okay, so we're transformed by the renewal of our mind. So I'm hoping this is what I'm going to do tonight. I'm renewing your mind, the way you think about relationships, the way you think about interacting with people, and hopefully that renewal leads to this transformation. Okay, it's called, well, I don't even know who said this, but I've known it for a while now. When we talk about discipleship, we talk about heart transformation and not behavior modification. Okay, so everything I'm going to say to you tonight is not for you to modify your behavior. Christianity is not about coming primarily to just modify your behavior. It's about heart transformation. Okay, we receive a warning about this in Matthew 23 from verse 27. It says, "Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You are like whitewashed tombs, which look beautiful on the outside, but on the inside are full of bones of the dead and everything unclean. In the same way, on the outside, you appear to people as righteous, but on the inside, you are full of hypocrisy and wickedness." And it's that thing that the outside doesn't matter if on the inside you are filled with wickedness, or you're doing it for selfish reasons or selfish desires. So I am interested tonight in heart transformation. I'm not interested in just giving you a couple of things to work on, and then you go in the week and you make like a little checklist tonight, and then you see like how many you can hit, and then next week the next preacher gives you a next checklist, and all this time you're just trying to work on your behavior. But it's this idea, the whole idea of Undivided, the whole idea of whole life discipleship is that when you invite Jesus into your life, things will change. He will affect everything you do. He will affect how you talk to people, how you view them. He will have that effect on you. So the thing I want you to leave with tonight is to pursue Jesus, to pursue him, not to pursue all the things that I tell you that what it should look like, but I am going to tell you these things for you to kind of see where you are at. It's like I'm giving you the memo, and now you compare yourself kind of to the memo and see how you still need to grow in this journey. So I've looked at some things in the scripture on relationships, what they should look like, and there's way more in the scripture, but these are the things that I've seen really had an impact in my life. So I feel like I've got some testimonies to share about them as well. And so I've got 4 points of what your relationships should look like once you invite Jesus into your life. Okay, and now I also want to just say that like Dr. Joint always says, we promote the ideal, but we shepherd the real. Okay, and in no way am I trying to be insensitive. In no way am I trying to think that you haven't tried these things or you haven't done them. But we've all been hurt in relationships, right? It's been painful. But my prayer leading up to tonight was that we can look past the pain, look past the people that got it wrong. That when I say trust, you look past the people that broke your trust, right? So we promote the ideal and we shepherd the real. And so I'm hoping we can do that tonight. But in no way am I trying to be insensitive or not realize that people have hurt you. You've got real pain that you're dealing with relationships, people that are still in your life to this day. Number one, pursue relationships, okay? First, to have good relationships, you need like a kind of couple of relationships to go around. Okay, but not just whoever is around. I think it's important that you actually need to pursue relationships. I think you need to, as a Christian, have people in your life. I think you need to be surrounded by people. If you don't believe me, let me call in my backup here. Ecclesiastes 4, verse 9 to 10. Two are better than one, because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. As I'm reading that, I really do have pity in my heart. I know some people that when they fall, they've got no one around them. They've got no one to help them. They're stuck. When they're suffering, there's no one to share that with. And we always say joy shared is double joy. Sorrow shared is half a sorrow. You need people to share your sorrows with. You need people to help you with whatever you are going through. Romans 12, verse 10. Be devoted to one another in love. Honor one another above yourselves. There again, be devoted to one another in love. Devotion to one another, that's a relationship, right? You can't be devoted to someone and not know what they're going through, not know their lives, not know what's happening in their season. Be devoted to one another in love. So I think it's important that you have people in your life. And that might mean for some of you to be vulnerable, right? Because relationships are give and take. You can't just expect someone to give or you can't just take and not be able to give. You need to be vulnerable with people. You need to phone people. You need to check up on them so that they can also check up on you, so they can be there for you. I think it's great if you're in a space where you feel like you've got enough friends, you've got enough people in your life, you don't need more, but it's not always about you. Maybe there's someone close to you that, yes, you don't need them as a friend, but they might need you as a friend. They might need you in your life at that particular moment. Yeah, you're fine. You're cool. You don't need more people. But maybe there is someone. If everyone has that attitude, we're not going to make new friends. There's going to be like a group of 10 people at the back. They're all each other's friends, and they're not interested in making friendships with anyone else or being in any relationship. So I think it's important that you have relationship, okay? In order to do two of the most biggest things that God commands us, love your neighbor as yourself and go and make disciples, those things take relationship, right? Jesus says, make disciples, teach them everything that I've taught you. And he was speaking to the disciples. How has he taught them? He taught them in relationship. He taught them knowing who they are, walking with them. So I can't see how you can even do discipleship and how you can love one another without relationships, without having people around you. I don't think we're called to be alone. Pastor Louis this morning said that the newest generation is one of the loneliest generations ever. And that's sad, but I see it. I definitely see it. And it's crazy because we're so connected with social media. And I mean, back in the day, you had to like write a letter to someone, wait 3 months, receive it, write 3-month reply, get it back. Now, your friend messages you now, you kind of see what they want. You're like, it's not that important. I'll reply to them in 3 months. Just like the letter, you know? But it's so weird that we're so connected. It's so easy to get a hold of someone, right? You just pick up the phone and then you call them and then they're right there. You can figure out, you can, what's that thing on Instagram? Someone know what I'm listening to as I'm jamming on my Spotify. People can see what I'm listening to, but yet that doesn't make us feel more connected. Because I don't think those things replaces authentic relationship, authentic friendship, loving one another, being devoted to one another in love, and all the things that I'm going to mention. I don't think that replaces it. And I think this generation is so lonely because we don't know how to do friendship. We don't know how to relate to people. We don't know what we're supposed to do, what we're supposed to give, and what are we supposed to take. Are we supposed to be there for someone or not? So I think start there. Evaluate where you are with your relationships. Do you have people in your life? And if not, get connected. The church has amazing opportunities to get connected. If I'm thinking of volunteering, was probably one of the best ways I got connected when I first came to this church 10 years ago, was to volunteer, to get connected to people, to chat with them before the service, after the service, serve with them, but also a community group. That's why I met Jen for the first time. I think she was like grade 10 or something when I joined her brother's community group. And it's so wonderful because it's not just any friends, it's friends that share this vision, this passion, this purpose that we're all moving towards. It's people that will sit in this service here with you and that will make this relationship work. Okay. Number 2, pray for your relationships. I feel like that's cliche, but I still don't think we're doing it. And if I look at Colossians 4, where Paul is asking, pray for me, and I look at Colossians where he is saying he is praying for them, it looks like it's kind of a thing that we need to be doing. And you might go, yeah, I know I need to pray for people, but I'm challenging you, I'm challenging myself. I'm also listening to my own sermon tonight. In no way do I do all of these things and I get everything right. But I honestly think we need to pray for one another. Ephesians 6. And pray in the Spirit on all occasions with all kinds of prayers and requests. With this in mind, be alert and always keep on praying for all the Lord's people. You ever needed motivation? There it is. Pray also for me, that whenever I speak, words may be given me so that I will fearlessly make known the mystery of the gospel. And then he just speaks about that Taisha's guy again in a different letter. But always keep on praying for all the Lord's people. Pray for those around you. I think what prayer also does is it creates an opportunity for you to be vulnerable, right? Asking people, hey, listen, can you pray? Maybe you don't know how to approach people when it comes to sharing something that's going on in your life or something that's tough. Prayer is the perfect way to do that. When you go to a friend and say, listen, I need you to pray for me. I don't need advice. I don't need you to tell me what to do. I just need an ear. Can you pray for me? Please, I'm struggling with A, B, C. And then obviously keep them up to date as things change and as their prayer gets answered. But I think it's an opportunity to be vulnerable with people. So going back to the first one, pursuing people, maybe if you are someone that you don't feel as connected with people, maybe start there. Ask someone to pray for you. Ask someone how you can pray for them. Say, listen, I want to pray for people. Can I pray for you? And I'm yet to meet someone that says, no, please don't pray for me. Ask them, what can I pray for you? What's on your heart? And have them support you in prayer. I think that's amazing. I think that's very powerful. And I think that's one of the things that we need to do and what Jesus in our relationships look like. I think if Jesus in your relationships, you want to pray for people. You have this desire to pray, to want the best for them. Number 3, shift your focus. Philippians 2 verse 3. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others about yourselves. And so what I want to say about this point is that do not be selfish in the friendship. Your friendships, your relationships are not there for you just when you need them. They'll show up, but when they need you, you don't show up. You're not there. Something that Darby said when he married myself and Vida, that I think is such great marriage advice, but I think it's applicable and it would help in all relationships, is he as he was marrying us, he was saying, listen, in marriage, responsibilities and compromising and like not getting your way, doing things, carrying the burdens, it's never going to be 50-50 in a marriage. It's always going to, the scale's always going to tip here and there. He's like, and at the end of the day, there's always one person that ends up giving more, doing more, sacrificing more, serving more. You've just got to make sure you are that person. And I want to say the same for the relationships. That if there's someone in the relationship that's serving more, giving more of their time, giving more of their prayer, let it be you. Let you be the friend that gives more than they receive. Because that is so like Jesus. That is all he came to do, was give infinitely and receive. What we have to give to Jesus doesn't measure up to what he's done for us. Right? And he says that if you love me, you follow my commands, I call you my friends. So if we look at our friendship with Jesus, it's not a fair scale based on what he gives and what he receives back. And it's never going to be fair. Right? It's not like we're going to go to heaven and now he can sit back and relax and we can kind of run everything. I bet you when you get to heaven, he's going to serve you. And he's just going to keep on serving you every single day. And I want to challenge you with your friendships. Maybe it's not 50-50. Maybe you feel like it is unfair. You're always the one messaging first. You're always the one doing the checking up. You're always the one that shows up for them. And I'm not talking about toxic relationships and toxic friendships. You definitely, the Bible talks about not surrounding yourself with wicked people. You need to know when to let go of people, that they shouldn't be in your life. It should definitely be prayer. You should pray about it and definitely speak to other people about it. But I don't think we should just run away the moment we feel like we give more than we get. I don't think that should be our first response, our heart's response, to just run away the moment we feel like someone is taking more than they give. I think there's such value in serving those around you, in serving the people. And imagine how cool would that be, right? If you've got someone, you've got a friend, and now you've got these two people that they share the same idea, right? You are just trying to outserve them, but at the same time, they're trying to outserve you. You're trying to show up more for them, but at the same time, they're trying to show up more for you. And I just see this healthy friendship of just consistency, people that you can rely on, people that will always be there for you when you need them, people that when you pick up the phone, you know they will answer. You know they will be there. And I think that's what we're striving for if we think of Jesus in our relationship. And if I think of you going to the community group, going to the life groups, going to volunteering, finding people there, building friendships there, that's the kind of people I think you'll encounter there. Not always, but I think you'll encounter them there that they've got the same attitude. Because obviously you don't want someone in your life that the more you give, the more they'll just take, right? That's not going to be nice. If you just do more for them, and as you do more, they just expect more, and they just kind of drain the life out of you. That's why I think it's so important to surround yourself with the right people, that the more you give, the better they become, and the more they want to pour into you. I just see this rich cycle of a community of people built like that, relationships built like that. And then I want to go to point number 4, which is the toughest one. That's why I left it for last. Love like Jesus. That seems easy enough. So, love like Jesus, I want to remind us of Mark 12, where we hear about the greatest commandments and Jesus summarizing the greatest commandments. And he says that obviously love the Lord your God. And then the second one, love your neighbor as yourself. So it's one of the things that is the greatest. One of the things that we are, apart from serving God and loving God, next in line is to love each other. Okay? And now let's look, before we do that, also John 13, verse 34 to 35 says, "A new command I give you, love one another as I have loved you. So you must love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you love one another." There it is again, loving one another. And by that love, I think that's what's supposed to set us apart, is people seeing how we love one another. People seeing how you do friendship, how you show up for your friends, how consistent you are for the people in your life. Not just friends, but all relationships that you have, that they can see by that you are my disciples. And that's why I'm thinking, surround yourself with people that will do that same thing, that people can clearly see what's happening there. And so love, I'm going to go to the classic definition of love that we all run to. 1 Corinthians 13 from verse 4. Love is patient. So that means you need to be patient with him. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. Going back to point number 3, to give. It's not self-seeking. It's not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, and always perseveres. And so I think off the bat, we kind of all know that. We've heard that oftentimes. But the thing I want to talk about, and what that I didn't learn growing up, and I only learned it once I was in a relationship with Vida, and somewhere someone taught me, I don't know who or what, maybe they taught you as well, maybe watch the same YouTube video or something, or maybe it was just the home I grew up in or whatever, but somewhere I swear that like your emotions could justify your actions. Somewhere someone was like, no, I did that because I was angry. Or I did that because I was upset. I had a bad day. That's why I spoke to you so horribly. Or no, it's a tough season. I'm sorry. Somewhere someone told me that like, no. If they ask, oh, why did you speak so badly to me? And I go, no, because you spoke so badly to me. That would kind of like end the argument. Try that with Vida. She's like, why did you do that unkind thing to me? I was like, well, why did you do that unkind thing to me? And she's like, no, I need you to apologize for that unkind thing you did. And I was like, well, then apologize for your unkind thing. She's like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry too, right? And there was one fight. I remember this was at the old place she stayed at. There's one fight where it was one of those, I don't know, some of you have been in relationships. It was like a long fight and it's getting late. And we're just going back and forth, and you said this, no, but you used this word, and I used that word. We're a lot more mature now. Thank you. And I remember her going, listen, we need to pick this up tomorrow. We're tired, we need to go sleep, or whatever. And then she said, but let's apologize for the things we've done wrong. I was like, whoa, no. I can only apologize at the end, when we figured out why I said this. And I remember she going, no, it doesn't matter why you said it. Like, there would never be a why to justify your sin, right? The only thing that could justify my sins is Jesus. So even if we end the conversation, we get to the main root, whatever that thing is, it would never justify being impatient, being unkind, being proud, being easily angered. There would never be. So you can argue all day long. You're not going to get to something that's going to go, oh, that's why you were unkind to me. That's fine. No, not a chance. And I remember feeling so weird, like apologizing for the things I've done wrong, but we haven't like figured out whose fault it is yet. Because in my head, like when you figure out whose fault it is, that person doesn't have to apologize, or that person has to apologize, and the other one's kind of like by default they win. But now, and it's so cool. Now we start whenever we have an argument or something, we always start with, so say she says something wrong, I say something wrong, and we catch ourselves. We're like, okay, but why did you do that? We pause and we go, okay, listen, I'm sorry I spoke to you that way. And she goes, I'm also sorry that I was impatient. Let's figure out why. Let's figure out what caused or led to this. Not that it would justify anything, right? But there must be something. So in Ephesians 4, verse 26, it says, in your anger, do not sin. Do not let the sun go down while you're still angry. So yes, you can be angry, but that's no excuse to sin, right? So you can have your emotions, you can have your anger, you can have your jealousy, you can have your whatever emotion you want to experience, but it should not cause you to sin, right? And emotions are indicators of something that's going on in your heart. They're indicators, not dictators, right? So your emotions, and as we're exploring this conversation, as we're figuring out, I'm figuring out my emotions, and it tells me there's something going on in my heart. There's something that I need to figure out there. It's Proverbs 23 that says, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Luke 6:45 that says, for the mouth speaks what the heart is full of. Okay? So that person can't make me say unkind things, right? They can't put the sin in, they can't make me sin. I sin, okay? And I know it's tough when people cut you off and you say horrible things, but you've got to understand they don't, when they cut you off in the road, like they, and you say horrible things and maybe you sin, you can't say they made you sin. What the heart is full of, the mouth overflows. They can't make you do anything. You can't blame your sin on them. All that happened is there was an opportunity for you to see what's going on in your heart. And that's the same whenever there's pressure, whenever you're tired, whenever you're worn out or hangry or whatever, those things create the perfect space to show you what's going on in your heart. To reveal to you, this is what I'm actually thinking. This is actually what's going on. And I see too often people go, they say horrible things, and then they just kind of glance by and say, it's because I was angry. No, I know people that get angry and they don't do those things. They don't say those things, right? I heard it put so well. Where was that? Yes, the storm might be real. And so the storm in this case, your emotions, what's going on, the intensity at school and work or whatever. The storm might be real, but you're still responsible for how you drive, right? So when you can't say I crashed my car because the road was wet or because the conditions were bad. You've got to put in boundaries. You've got to know that because it's wet, because it's dangerous, because it's foggy, maybe I should not drive, right? Because I'm under pressure and because I'm burnt out, maybe we shouldn't be talking about this thing now. Maybe talk about it a bit later. Maybe because I haven't eaten, I had breakfast yet, maybe we shouldn't confront each other on that thing, right? You'll have to figure out when the conditions are bad, how do you control yourself? Because self-control is a fruit of the Spirit. You need to be able to control what you say, no matter how angry you get, no matter how upset you get, and those things cannot justify your actions. They cannot justify why you did these things wrong. Those things aren't excuses. You can't use them as excuses. And that's tough. Because for me, growing up, like, if you are upset, that, like, you could do anything and you could just afterwards go, oh, I'm sorry, I was just upset that you did this thing. And then now immediately I get this idea that, like, oh, it's because I did something wrong that they lashed out like that to me. No, I was just angry. I just shouted at you. I just called you worthless because when I got home, I saw ABC. And now the thing I'm going is, oh, maybe if I don't do that thing, they won't hurt me that way. No, if someone hurts you, they are fully accountable. They can't blame you. And that seems tough, right? That you need to take that full accountability. But that's what the Bible calls us to do, right? We've got self-control. We need to figure out, and it's different. People's temperaments are different. And you've got to know what it is, what time of the day. They do it so well in this church's marriage course, where they're like, when you fight, when you argue, there are certain rules, like times at night you can't fight, days of the week, month you can't fight, you shouldn't be arguing, because it makes it worse. You need to know yourself. You need to know where your boundaries are, when you need to stop yourself, because at the end of the day, you are going to be held accountable for what you said and what you did and how you hurt them, right? So those are the 4. Pursue the relationships, have relationships, pray for the relationships, shift the focus, and love like Jesus. And I think the whole idea of Jesus in our lives, and remember what I said, it's not about behavior modification, but it's about heart transformation. So if you are someone that maybe you struggle with some of these things, or maybe you don't get it right, you're not always there for your friends, they're not always there, you're not praying, whatever. The idea is now not that you now go and do those things, right? At the start of what I said is that when Jesus is in our relationships, this is what it should look like. So if you feel like you need help in these areas, pursue Jesus. Seek Him. More of Him in your life. Because if you just leave tonight and all you do is kind of like how you do conflict and how you do these things, you're going to be changing 1% of your life. But if after tonight you pursue Jesus, He's going to transform your relationships. He's also going to transform your finances. He's also going to transform your studies and your family and everything, and your peace and your sleep, everything. It's way more. The idea of this is not that we should now go and change our behavior. Like I said, this should be an indicator to us that, man, I need more Jesus in my life. Because Schalk is saying to me, this is what my relationships should look like if Jesus in my heart, and they don't completely look like that. The problem is not the relationships. The problem is we just need more of Jesus. And now obviously it's a journey. Discipleship is a journey, and we move forward as long as you have that heart, that repentant heart, and as long as you keep going to Jesus and you keep going to Him saying, Lord, your will be done, not mine. But Lord, what Schalk is talking about, these relationships, I want that. I want people in my life like that. I want people that when I'm down, they'll pick me up. I've got some amazing stories of, like the one day I just had like a tough day, a rough day, and my sister phoned me. So she stays in Welkom in the Free State, which is like 3 hours away. And so I just spoke to her on the phone, said like had a rough day, Vida and myself. It was intense and whatnot, and she was listening. And then about 40 minutes later, I get a call from Checker 6060, and he's like, I'm here. I'm like, my brother, you've got the wrong number. I don't even have the app on my phone. He's like, are you Schalk? I'm like, whoa. Yeah. Maybe you've got the wrong Schalk. He's like, Schalk by Hatfield Christian Church. I'm like, what? And I go outside. He's like, here's your order. And I'm like, thank you. And I open it up, and it's like Steri Stumpies and chocolates and a milk tart and food and like a pasta and lasagna. And it was just my sister that's like, listen, here you go. You had a tough day. It's intense. But that's so intentional, right? Because in my head, now I'm not that good at that stuff, but I'm thinking they're 3 hours away. What am I going to do for them? She's going, well, I can just go on 6060. I know where he works. I've got his number. I can put that on. But other stuff, when Vida went in for a surgery last year, how the people, the support we had, because we have relationships like this, people just showing up with meals so that we don't have to cook, people offering to come and do our laundry. I'm like, yeah, that's fantastic, you know, because our main laundry person is out of action, you know. But just seeing the people around us, supporting us, being there for us, and I'm telling you, it's a fruit of consistency. It's a fruit of being part of this church for 10 years now. Being part of this, people know us, people want to care for us, and you get that by being consistent, by being in a space, by doing that for other people. I'm thinking that probably the biggest revelation to me was when I had a motorcycle accident a couple of years ago, and that was quite intense. And so I was at home. I was working at JV Life. I was at home. But then as well, the amount of messages I got from people praying for me, saying that they want to come visit, they want to come hang out with me, or bring me food, or do this, or do that, or just support me. Like I was in tears. Like I didn't know I mean that much to so many people. And now you don't need to have a near-death experience to know you mean that much to people. And people don't need to have a near-death experience to know they mean so much to you. If you're happy of someone in your life, tell them. If you want to celebrate someone in your life, tell them. I don't know who said it to me, but they told me once that gratitude unexpressed isn't gratitude at all. If you're thankful for someone in your life and you've never told them that, then you're not. Tell them. Tell them you love them. Tell them you're thankful for them. Tell them you appreciate them, that you'll be there for them. Pray for them. Tell them you want to pray for them. I think those are the kind of people you need to surround yourself. That's what a Jesus culture would look like. That's what it's supposed to look like when all of us are pursuing Jesus. But it's only going to get there if myself and you and every person sitting here goes home tonight in this week and we spend time with Jesus. It's not going to happen if we just try hard enough and like he mentioned that like 60-60 thing. Let me try that. Maybe that's going to transform this whole space. No, it's not. It's going to be pursuing Jesus. If I go home tonight and pursue Jesus and you go home tonight to pursue Jesus, this is what our relationships would look like, and what a wonderful world we would be living in. What a wonderful space we'll be creating for ourselves that we don't have to be alone. And I think that's what I want, and that's what I want you to hear, is run after Jesus. Not for the support, not for the friendships, not for the milk tart and the steri stampies at Checker 60-60, but run to Jesus for so much more than that. For life. Because with him is life. I want to pray for us. Father, thank you that you are in our lives. Jesus, what an amazing privilege it is to know you. And not just know you, but have a real relationship with you. Father, I pray that if there are people here tonight that they don't know what it feels like to have a real relationship with Jesus, I pray that you show up, Lord. I pray that you show them that you are an arm's length away, Father. I pray that you'd show them if they take one step, that's all they need to do, Lord. Father, and for the rest of us that we have a relationship with you, Father, may we have a desire to go deeper, Lord. I pray if we leave tonight, if we could leave with one thing, that's a desire for more of you in our life, in every single aspect of our life. Lord, you can have it all. Have all of our lives, Father. Every aspect of it, I pray that we just get closer to you, Father. Pray that you are with us in this week. Pray that you're with us in our relationships. And thank you that we can be called your friends. Praise in your mighty name, Jesus. Amen.